Alright, so if you didn't know, Manchester United played against Lyon in the Europa League qualification. I think it was semi-finals, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless though, we drew 2-2. And I'm going to be honest, we're going to treat this as a loss for Manchester United. For Lyon, low-key, I feel like this is low-key a loss for them as well. I feel like they had their chances of scoring and winning the game. But we're gonna talk about that later in the video. But there's a couple of things I want to talk about. So in this video, I want to talk about, first and foremost, Onana, right? Onana having a stinker. I'm pretty sure by the title, you would have guessed that we're going to be talking about Onana. We're also going to be talking about Højlund, Garnacho, and then finally, we're going to talk about Rayan Cherki, because I need to say a couple of things about him. But regardless, let's just get into the video. So let's just talk about quickly the game, overall performances. I feel like the game was kind of flat. I feel like there was times where both teams did well, you know, especially with the build-up play. I felt like Lyon was more entertaining to watch with their build-up play. I mean, their passing was much more fluid than Manchester United. I feel like Manchester United struggled to complete passes compared to Lyon. I'm pretty sure Lyon had a higher possession of the ball. And yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I feel like Lyon was more entertaining to watch, especially when they were attacking and the passes they were making. I mean, Cherki and then the other guy from Georgia, I forgot his name. His name's like, what for his face up here? But like them two players, I feel like they were very entertaining to watch, especially when Lyon had their chance. One thing I did like from Manchester United was Cherki and Bruno trying to play together. They just need more time to play together, and I'm telling you, they're gonna be very fun to watch. Cherki and Bruno. First thing first, let's talk about the first goal, right? Let's just talk about Onana as a whole. There's no point talking about the two goals separately because both of them were just Onana. And well, if you didn't know, Onana and Matic had some sort of situation going on before the game. And to summarize, what basically happened was Onana disrespected Lyon by saying that Manchester United were a much better team. And well, obviously Matic not going to just take the smoke. He responded by saying that Onana is one of the worst goalkeepers in Manchester United history. Now listen, let's discuss this. Is Onana one of the worst goalkeepers in Manchester United history? So when we're looking at Manchester United history goalkeepers, we're talking about what? Van der Sar, De Gea, Schmeichel, you know, we're talking about, if you deep it, Manchester United always has, like in their prime especially, they always have the best goalkeepers in the world. Like, that might be a hot take. I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's the truth. I feel like we always have one of the best goalkeepers. I know Manchester United now, especially me, I mean not especially me, but including me, were feeling the pain of letting De Gea go and bringing Onana, because what was he doing yesterday? Respectfully, he could have stopped the free kick, poor timing, and then the second goal he struggles one-on-one against Cherki to stop. Respectfully, Matic was right. And what's interesting is most of the United fans were defending Onana on Twitter, especially. You know, they were saying like, nah, but Onana's gonna prove Matic wrong, and yesterday's game, you know, he's gonna perform a masterclass. But instead of performing a masterclass, this guy performs a master stinker. Like, he was shockingly bad yesterday. Honestly, one of the worst players yesterday. Alongside Højlund, which is someone else I want to talk about as well. Rasmus Højlund, listen. I think it's time we just close the chapter, especially this summer. Not even this summer. Right now, we should just close the chapter, okay? I feel like we should just let Shido Obi Martin play instead, because Højlund on the ball and off the ball, he struggles, okay? He can't play. I'm sorry. The basics. He struggles with the basics, all right? I'm like, I don't know how people that like Højlund are still defending him. There are people that are still defending him, you know. I don't know how they're doing it, but personally, I think it's over. Like, we all have to agree that this guy is not good enough to be a Manchester United starter, bro. First and foremost, I feel like Cherki should start over him. I feel like Cherki is better off the bench, which is why Ruben always brings him off the bench, then starts him. But Højlund, man, I'm telling you, and one thing I should mention is that there are Serie A clubs interested in Rasmus Højlund. If you don't know, before he came to United, he was playing at Atalanta. And so, listen, we gotta have to look at options, you know. We gotta look at who wants Rasmus Højlund and how much, because, listen, man, he's not good enough. I don't see him working out in the future for Manchester United. And that's not me being harsh or strict. We need a striker who can lead the line, who's our main goal-scoring threat. our main scoring threat right now in this team is Bruno Fernandes. I don't feel like that should be the case. I feel like, and even when Ahmed is ready, he's also a goal threat. And if you saw the game against Newcastle, I remember seeing like 6 men onto Ahmed when no one was with Rasmus. And the reason why is because they know if someone was to score, it would be Ahmed or someone else, even Bruno. Whereas with Højlund, honestly, you just need a 1-on-1. You just need one defender. And it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't have to be a top tier defender. It can be a low tier defender. And I'm telling you, they're going to be able to take the ball off Højlund. And so, back to my original point, listen, Manchester United needs to close that chapter and bring in a new striker or not. If we can't afford a new striker, honestly, just check out Obi Martin, man. Check out Obi Martin. Because listen, very young. He already showed that he's a mentality of a striker. Honestly, I'll take the risk and play him. But obviously, Ruben Amorim doesn't like starting young players early. I feel like it's because he doesn't want to put pressure onto them. Obviously, we know Manchester United fans are they have high standards, you know. And so, to bring a young player like Obi Martin into the starting team, the amount of pressure might get to him. And so, I can understand why Ruben Amorim doesn't start Obi Martin. And one player I want to also talk about from the Manchester United squad is Alejandro Garnacho. If you didn't know, I already made a video on him and my take on him, like, he's not good enough. Obviously, in that video, I talk about Ronaldo because, listen, are we going to lie and say that we never had Ronaldo comparisons? I was bringing it up. If you don't know, if you check the comments, people were somewhat getting on to me because they were saying, how am I comparing Garnacho to Ronaldo? Well, in fact, I wasn't the one that was comparing it. In fact, I was just listening out there, hearing people compare him to Ronaldo, especially last season when he was coming up. And I'm just coming up, like in the last video, I'm just saying we should not compare Garnacho to Ronaldo, okay? They are not on the same level, and I honestly don't believe Garnacho will ever reach the level Ronaldo was at Manchester United, especially at 2008 season. I could bet my whole life Garnacho will never reach that level, respectfully. But I'm not trying to hate on Garnacho. But at the same time, after yesterday, we have to be honest. He's not good enough to start for Manchester United, let alone play for United, bro. This guy still doesn't know. This guy still struggles one-on-one. He struggled to make a simple pass to Bruno Fernandes. Okay, that one moment, honestly, made me lose all respect for him because we needed that. I feel like, again, I always say this in all my videos. You can't waste your chances, okay? And that right there, Garnacho just wasted the chance by struggling to make a simple pass to Bruno Fernandes. And I'm pretty sure Bruno Fernandes also got pissed. I mean, I don't know if you saw the game. He was vexed as well. I feel like Ruben Amorim needs to make the tough decision and say these guys are not good enough. And listen, there's a reason why we're 13th. That's the honest truth. There's a reason why we're 13th. And well, if we don't want to be 13th, we need to make changes. And these are the changes Ruben Amorim should consider. When you're closer to championship than top 4, we need to make drastic changes. And that's the honest truth. But look though, the final thing I want to talk about, and I might even say he was the star of the night in my opinion. He was man of the match. I wouldn't say he was like the best player by far, but he was a player, not only in this match, but he is a player I've been watching for months now, years actually, years. And that's Rayan Cherki. Listen, this guy is only 21. He's been showing that he's actually a top player for years, okay? Now, obviously he is in the French league, he is playing for Lyon, so there's some like flaws in my argument of saying he's a top player, to prove that you're a top player, you have to play in the top leagues, against top teams. But I honestly believe Rayan Cherki has the resources, has the ability to be a top player, and he should be a top priority for all the big clubs this summer. And if you didn't know, the owner of Lyon has already said in the past that he doesn't want Cherki to leave. In fact, he even admitted Cherki wanted to leave for 3 years now. What I find interesting is that I don't hear his name as often as I thought I would hear his name, But this summer I am expecting him to leave this summer. And so the question is, where would he go? And honestly, listen, the only team I don't want him to go to is Real Madrid, respectfully, okay? And hopefully Cherki understands that if he goes to Real Madrid, he's going to end up like Arda Güler and Endrick, where he gets barely any minutes, Honestly, I would like to see him in the Premier League. And obviously, as a United fan, I'm going to say I would rather have him starting instead of Garnacho. Obviously, that is far-fetched. because of many reasons. One, he might be too expensive, you know. Like I said, the Lyon owner doesn't want to sell Cherki. Also, that he's only 21 as well. And listen, it might go down the same rabbit hole as many players that played for United, where, you know, we sign a youngster or we sign a top player like Sancho, for example. You know, I remember we signed Sancho and we thought he's going to be a top tier player, and he ends up being some lazy guy that doesn't want to play for United now. You know, I don't want Cherki to end up like that, but it could happen. But honestly, best case scenario, I would love to have him instead of Garnacho in the number 10 role. He does show that he can create chances, dictate play, and he's good at finishing. And he's only 21, by the way, so imagine when he's 25. His market value, if I'm not mistaken, it is apparently 35 million. And so obviously, I'm hoping that we can get him for like 50 mil, honestly. I don't want to overprice these players like we always do, you know. Manchester United have a history of paying too much money for players that haven't shown their talent. Even 50 mil might be too expensive, low key, but 35 million and he's a top tier player. I mean, I feel like many teams are going to be after him, and so I feel like 50 mil might be a good deal. And like I said, also the French league compared to the Premier League is a big change, and so we can't be too certain on how well Cherki will play. Honestly, forget about buying him. Actually, I said we just give him a loan. Try and give him a loan. I know we struggled to get Tel. Hopefully this one they can see that it is worth sealing the deal, you know, because I know with Tel we shook. But with Tel, we didn't want to pay 5 million to complete the deal, which is crazy to me. 5 million, come on. I mean, I don't have 5 million, but you were talking about Manchester United here. Like, 5 million should be peanuts for them. So, listen, if we can get a loan deal for Cherki, that would be amazing, honestly. But only time will tell. And that's how we'll conclude the video. What are your thoughts on the game yesterday? Manchester United versus Lyon. Honestly, obviously not the best games. You know, we had Champions League games that were far more entertaining, but it is what it is. What's your thoughts on Onana? Listen, do you feel like Onana should leave Manchester United, or do you feel like we'll be too harsh? Same question goes with Højlund and Garnacho as well. What are your thoughts on them? And also Rayan Cherki. In fact, let me ask you this. What team do you feel like should go after Rayan Cherki? He is I'm pretty sure he can play on the wing, and he can also play in the number 10 role, or like a cam. So yeah, my question is, what team do you feel like Rayan Cherki can go to? Listen, if you enjoyed this video, like, comment down your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe to help grow this channel. We're 2 subscribers away from hitting 50 subscribers. Small milestone, but it's still big in my opinion, you know. It's better than 0, you feel me? But yeah, I'm gonna see you in my next video. Peace.